So many people wondered if the Jags and Evan Ingram were going to come out like they weren't going to do it. And then all of a sudden, a couple days ago, it happened. The Jags signed tight end Evan Ingram, as you can see here. I love using the local sources. So we're going to Big Cat Country, and they signed tight end Evan Ingram to a 3-year, $41.25 million extension. This is huge for the Jags, and I'm going to tell you why. But in this video, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about why this is a big signing, why it helps Trevor Lawrence almost as much as anyone else, why it is good for this year, even though Ingram was set to play on the franchise tag. He was still going to be on the team this year, right? I'm going to talk about why it's huge for this year. And I'm going to talk about, is this actually a 3-year contract or is it more of a 2-year contract? What does it look like in case he doesn't live up to the potential and the hype that he showed last year? But first, we got to talk about how the Jags got their man. All right. He had previously, like we said, been franchise tag. I'm just getting a couple of these things here. He's set to earn, it was set to earn him $11.34 million. Now he is getting this. Now he's getting this contract, which 3 years, 41.25, like just quick math, it's almost $13 million a year. So it's a little bit of a pay bump. But it's also more than that. It's security. And I believe it is $24 million fully guaranteed. And we'll talk a little bit about some of that other stuff. But here's what I want to show you as well. I am going to share my screen with you here for a second on something completely different, and it is his contract itself. Now, there's a couple places that I like to look at, and this one is overthecap.com. SpoTrack is great as well, but this one just kind of made life a little bit easier for everybody. So here's what he's getting each year. If you were to show him and get this year, he's getting his dead money is $24 million. They are front loading the heck out of this thing. The deals that he's getting are front loaded on this. This is a good thing for the team long term. In the future, this is what you want to see. In year 2, 2024, you still have a dead cap hit of $18 million. And you would actually lose $7 million if you cut him. Like, it would cost you even more money. But in the year 2025, this is where you have the potential out. His cap number is going to be massive. It is almost $24 million if you keep him on the roster. It will count $24 million against the cap. That's 8.4%. Wow. Like that, it's not going to happen. Okay, this is a 2-year contract, and he will be 31 when it's done, and they're going to see what they're going to get from him. If they decide that they don't want him after 2024, they still pay, you can see right here, almost $8 million in dead cap money. So it will cost them $8 million off the books if they cut him. But here's where you're like, why would we want to pay $8 million for nothing? They will save $16 million. So you have to make the decision. And what would probably happen at that time is, if they are all wanting to be there, they're going to restructure the contract. They're going to put some of that money later, and they'll kind of go from there. That is pretty common practice in the NFL. So that's kind of what you're looking at on the contract side of things. But what we need to talk about even more than that is why it is good for the Jags this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a ridiculous lineup. Let me tell you right now, this is a playoff team. Jags fans, how much do you trust Trevor Lawrence? And I hope none of my friends are watching this, because I have fantasy drafts coming up. One is in under a month. The other one, actually, we're doing it in September. But if I'm sitting late in the first round, Trevor Lawrence is a guy I'm taking, because he is loaded with talent in this right arm, and he is loaded with talent all around him. Evan Ingram was a huge factor, especially in the back half of the year for the Jags. That success, they figured it out, him and Trevor Lawrence. You still have Jones. You still have Christian Kirk. You now have Calvin Ridley, and you've always had Travis Etienne. Please, someone tell me, who has better weapons in the NFL? And I'm not saying that some teams don't. Like, you could say, well, what about the Titans now? Or you could say, what about the Eagles? You got me. Eagles have better weapons. You're right. But Trevor Lawrence is now set up fully, 100% fully, and every single player on that team wants to be there. You have Christian Kirk, who they said, we're going to pay you. We trust you. They went out and they were like, you know what, Jones? You know what, Zay? We got you. We're going to pay you some money, a little bit more than everybody else thought. And he made them look really smart in that last year. And then you have Calvin Ridley, who's just happy to be playing football again. So the only player who is visibly upset, he was out there liking tweets when people were telling, like, hey, like when the people were like, what are the Jags doing? The only person who wasn't happy in that mix of pass catchers on that offense was Evan Ingram. Guess who's happy now? Evan Ingram. Okay. And if you don't believe me that he's happy, his post immediately afterward was, I'm home, with praying hands emoji or thank you emoji, depending on what you want to take it as. This is huge. Evan Ingram is a guy who always had skill. He was drafted 23rd overall because he had skill by the Giants in 2017. In that first year, he had 64 catches for 722 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then over the next 4 seasons, it just wasn't that good. It just wasn't that good. So the Jags were like, well, we think it could be good here. So what they decided to do is give him a 1-year prove-it deal, $9 million. That's not bad. And he proved it. He proved that he could be a good tight end and that he was a good receiving option. This is a scary offense, y'all. Like, this is a scary offense, like top 5, definitely in the AFC, possibly NFL type of offense that they have. The only slight question mark that there is the offensive line. But even that offensive line actually performed okay last year. So there is a lot to be excited about. And quite honestly, with division rival, the Tennessee Titans saying, you know what, we're going to go get D-Hop. It was like, you know what? And I know this was all around the same time. D-Hop might have even been a day after. I don't know the exact timing of it. Everybody's talking about DeAndre Hopkins, but for $1.5 million less, maybe even close to $2 million less, you guys went out and got your tight end and you made sure you locked him up for the next couple of years. This is a solid team. This is a solid team with a solid signal caller. So you should be excited. And I can't wait to see what the Jags are going to do. Watching every game. You know we're going to do it. All right. We'll see you later.